If you're new to the board game ARCS, this is a great place to start learning some introductory strategy and how to win the base game. These are the top 10 strategies to give you a little edge when you play this game. This is Legendary Tactics. Board game scholarship is a vital part of our channel, and ARCS promises to provide a lot of study. The victory condition of ARCS is to win power, 27 with 4 players, 30 with 3, and 33 with 2 players. The one and only way to score points in ARCS is to complete ambitions. Let's get right into the guide with number 10, winning initiative. This is the most self-evident strategy in the game. In order to score an ambition of your choosing, you need to have the initiative, and you must play a card with a symbol matching that initiative, and you must declare and score that at the end of the round. Whoever declares their ambition first gets the highest scoring marker, so you'll be rewarded for declaring early. However, by declaring early, you'll also tip your hand so other players will know what they should compete for. Controlling initiative is generally desirable if you want to maximize your action pips and control the flow of the game. However, holding initiative later in a chapter is preferable than holding it early because you'll have a better sense of where players are strong. If your strategy is to be the player to control the declarations, you should first set yourself up to win that particular ambition strongly. Players are less likely to challenge you for first place if they can see that you've got it well in hand. For example, if you declare Warlord, be sure to have a high number of trophies well in advance, or that you have the capacity to win more trophies with a big fleet, more so than any other player. Next is Piggy-Backing. Having initiative is not the only way to score ambitions though. While some players will want to control the game by choosing the ambitions, another approach is to spend turns developing infrastructure, building ships, positioning units, and influencing court cards. By balancing out the ambitions that you're competing for, you can discourage other players from declaring them until you have amassed enough of an advantage to declare it yourself. Or if you can focus on the ambition that gets declared and go for the steal, that might work best for someone who declares early. If the other players declare late, you may need to predict based on what you see them preparing for and challenge them with a late round surge. This is more complicated at higher player counts. One of the best ways to piggyback is to secure some strong court cards to pull off some sneaky late chapter plays. Next is suits and hand management. In ARCS, you need to know the value of suits. At times, it may feel that your cards are poor. In fact, most people playing this game say that they always feel like they have a bad hand. However, every card has a use, and it should be played or sacrificed accordingly, and some suits are stronger than others. Recognizing which cards have the most value is key to winning this game. So I found that the weakest cards for me are the construction cards because they're only useful at certain times. If you have limited starports, your card is also limited. If your ships or structures aren't damaged, they are again a weak suit. So don't be afraid to burn an extra construction card to steal initiative if you can set up the strong late round power play with a better suit. The next worst suit are the mobilization cards. The influence action is also part of the administration suit, and the move action is on the aggression cards. And most points won't be scored by moving or influencing. Rather, this is more of a setup suit. It will get you into position, or it'll compete on the court cards. It's not a terrible suit, but it just isn't as good as the other suits. Administration, they're the second best cards in my opinion because of their flexibility with 3 actions and because taxing you lets you win many different ambitions: Tycoon, Keeper, and Empath. Being an attacker in battle is one of the most distinct advantages in the game. If you roll only blue dice, you can beat up on your opponents without any risk. So aggression cards can help you get into position, wipe out your opponents for the Warlord ambition, and collect court cards with the secure action. And these are all incredibly strong. If you enjoy strategy discussions and would like to support our channel, please consider becoming a member and liking the video. We really appreciate you being here. Number 7, the Builder. In our group, one lore card that has consistently done well is Cloud Cities, and I think that's because it really encourages building. This allows a player to build cities on planets outside of their building slots, that's 1 per planet. It allows you to keep your forces more concentrated, and having up to 3 cities on a single planet, that's great, but it also gives you +2 and +3 to 1 ambitions once you reveal these. The earlier you do this, the more points you'll compound. And if you build cities and systems that offer relics or psionics, that'll help you get a lock on the Keeper and the Empath ambitions. And on a side note, if you're building starports, remember that building 2 of them in one space, unnecessary. And they can be inviting targets since they don't provoke outrage when they're destroyed. And they'll make a really juicy planet raid. So you really don't need more than 2 on the whole board. Number 6, the Warlord. The Warlord strategy is one that newer players and aggressive players will generally lean towards because it's not too technical and it's a lot of fun. It's also great that you can build this one up from chapter to chapter. It essentially requires that you have a combination of lots of construction cards and aggression cards. Spam units onto the board and then destroy the other players. It's as simple as that. When it comes to choosing attack dice, I would suggest that damaging their ships with the blue skirmish dice first is great. Then hit them in the second round with the red dice. This will minimize the intercept hits that reflect back onto your ships, and it'll maximize the damage on theirs. And don't forget that you can destroy a city, provoke outrage, and then ransack the court deck. When you do this, you can secure any card that has any number of the defender's agents, and you can take those as trophies. So if a card is looking particularly rich, this might be a good time to pillage. Number 5, the Eurogamer. If you love setting up an engine and cranking out resources, the Eurogamer approach might be the way to go. Dig in on a few planets with 2 build spaces that are reasonably close together, and then choose the resource that you want to focus on and push the related ambition. If you secure the Fuel Cartel guild card, for instance, you might want to crank out material so that you can choose the tycoon ambition, and then you can dominate with both resources. When you attack other players, rather than destroying ships, you should roll the raid dice in spaces that have defending buildings. Use any keys that you roll to steal resources and cards, and the dice can be fickle, so be sure to roll at least 2 dice for every 1 key you want to roll. In your first few games, be sure you don't undervalue the swing that a raid can have once tycoon has been declared. Stealing an ambition out from under the person who declared it can be a ton of fun. Number 4, the Courtier. One viable path to victory is to control and dominate the court. The cards that come up will vary from turn to turn, but some of the best cards are the ones that give you an extra card and consequently an extra turn to seize the initiative, declare an ambition, or spam a high number of actions. The guild card Farseers, for instance, can be discarded to pick up a card from the discard pile. Likewise, Call to Action lets you draw an extra action card. And another card that is particularly useful is Lattice Spies, and it lets you steal the initiative and launch a huge power play. Be sure that you don't end up going all in with your agents into a head-to-head battle with another player. It's a waste of both of your resources, and someone's going to steal them. Instead, try to influence and secure a card quickly. Using relics are a great way to set this up without wasting an action pip on an aggression card. Remember that aggression cards have fewer action pips on them, which makes relics a really valuable resource. Let other players compete with each other for the perceived best cards. Number 3, exhaust a suit. Counting cards or paying attention to what's been played can be very helpful if you have a good memory. Knowing what suits are left and what numbers are out there can give you a real advantage when you try to beat the trump suit. Leading a low number in a suit will generally draw out other cards of that particular suit. Consider leading a medium-sized card to pull out the high-suited cards early. In a later turn, you can then lead a lower card of the same suit, and you may hold the initiative if the other players can't follow suit. But of all of my tips, this one is likely to change the most depending on the choices that the players at the table make. It will be really difficult to make predictions on this behavior because a player may use its card for its ambition rather than for its suit. So take this tip with a grain of salt. Number 2, the Ambition Tyrant. One strategy that can be effective is to set up for a clear ambition victory in an earlier chapter. You can double down or triple down by declaring that ambition multiple times. Some players forget that you can have one ambition winning all 3 ambition markers. Since it takes longer to collect captives, the Tyrant ambition can be a great focus. Land your ships on your opponent's structures and tax them regularly. This not only gives you resources, but also captive agents. And using fuel to sneak into an undefended planet is a great way to tax players when they least expect it. Number 1, Prelude Resourcefulness. The Prelude is one of the most overlooked parts of this game when you begin. And one of the biggest challenges in the game is to manage when you trigger your actions. Inevitably, you'll get cards that don't feel ideal, and other players will lead with cards that feel totally useless. But the Prelude is a key part of your turn where you can set up powerful combinations by using resource tokens before your action card. This may take a few turns to set up. You could, for instance, use material to build ships, then fuel to get them into position, and then ravage an opponent repeatedly with a strong aggression card. Planning these combos in advance is crucial, but they can completely obliterate an opponent before they even see you coming. Overall, to win at ARCS, you need to adapt to the cards you're dealt. You need to respond to which of these 10 strategies the other players are using, and you need to be flexible. I love that it's the players in this game who decide what ambitions will score points. This means that you'll need to apply these ideas very situationally. Now be sure to add what strategies have worked well for you in the comments, and get out there, get gaming, and be legendary.